I don't even understand. It was kind of cool, but it's with
What
a
is
shot.
that song? It sounds like a Lady Gaga song.
I don't know. I kind of want to play it again, so we can like what the whole stream has been trying to figure it out.
No.
I didn't hear a song. But I guess that's because I'm whack as hell.
Gotta turn the volume up on your iPad.
Yeah, shut up.
What is up, peoples? I'm the Motorcycle Mick, and today we are back for another live stream, and I am joined again by Johnny Roblox.
What's up?
And Wigsley, and you're a thought.
What's up? I like that, by the way. I'm throwing that in the end of a video.
You gotta do it. I don't know, at the top of my head. They added a bunch of features to StreamYard so you can start messing around. We'll figure it out eventually. But we are back for another motorcycle variety show, just talking about different motorcycle stuff, YouTube stuff, whatever, kind of goes. These things always end up going, I guess, off the rails, but who knows? We always end up just in really strange dimensions, and it always becomes super fun.
Hey, Mick, I have a quick question for you. Is the definition of vain watching your own YouTube videos while doing a live stream?
Is that what you're doing? Or is that the person that's down below me that's got his videos playing in the background?
Wait.
What the fuck? Is that filmed on like an iPhone with another screen in the background?
Yeah.
It's picture in picture.
We were on a road trip, dum-dum.
It's like I can see like windshield wipers going.
Yeah.
Was that when you went camping?
Camping trip. Just trying to keep my background cool, dude. I got a new desk today to turn 2 desks into one L-shaped desk, so I can have this cool wall behind me.
Very nice.
Yeah.
But don't you work off of an iPad?
I do.
So what do you need a desk for?
So I can set shit wherever the hells I want.
He's
got some shelves.
He's got ample room to move his iPad around.
That's the beautiful thing about the iPad. I sit my
It's that, or you guys get to look at my. Which way does this go?
His
opposite.
Super gay bed.
It was I'm in a band guitar in the back. It's exactly.
Hey, if it gets him laid, it gets him laid. Congrats.
Motorcycles and guitars, dude.
I mean,
speaking of motorcycles, I did my first engine swap this week.
Congrats. What'd you do?
Thanks. Kawi 450.
Okay, so was it just a 1-for-1 swap?
So
what's up, right?
I guess wouldn't be
sound
a swap per se. It was.
The
engine was blown, piston blew inside of it, needed to be rebuilt. So what we do at our shop is we just take the whole motor out. We build our own engine stands that swivel 180 and tilt and lock at any degree. So
wait,
it's my job to take it out. It's Nick's job to rebuild it. It's my job to put it back in, hook everything up, and start her up, make sure she sounds good.
That's awesome.
Ass low sound. Is there what did they change stuff now on this to where you have to
No
audio? I mean, it's showing the audio is picking up really good.
Yeah, I mean, I remember my first car engine swap when I was a kid. And I say as a kid, I was, shit.
I would say, I mean, if it's low sound, I would say
I was 14.
Okay.
So it's not a motorcycle story, but it'll kind of get you some backstory into who I am. When I was 14, my dad got a new job and it moved us to Dallas, back to where we were from Cincinnati. And so we ended up relocating, and I ended up going and pretty much staying with my grandparents. And he had this old double wide trailer that had been abandoned, and he was working on that. And out in the 5-acre lot that is sitting on, underneath a tree, buried under a shit ton of brush, was a 1942. Okay, get that sound off, Mick. It's not us.
Sorry, I was checking just to make sure.
It's not us.
StreamYard updating.
No, it's just his.
It's Blake Bryanman and his shitty speakers.
Brian Brakeman.
Yeah.
I
So
feel like your math is wrong on that one.
so anyway, I asked my grandfather if I could have it. He's like, if you can make it run, I'll give it to you. So I went. He took me to AutoZone. I got a Chilton's manual, and I knew that okay, the vehicle needs 3 things to run. An engine needs 3 things to run. So I went through, tested everything, figured it all out, and I got to work. I got it running and everything, and drove it around the yard and started doing swaps for stuff off of there. And this is all just while on a summer trip, right?
Right.
And I ended up changing out the motor, put a long block in there. And then my grandfather taught me the number one lesson of all. Anytime you do work for someone, get the shit in writing, because he sold it. He he didn't even know anything about it. He didn't even have a title for it. It was just sitting out there. He got 10 grand. And all we did was put about $900 worth of parts into it.
Did you at least get your $900 back?
It was my grandfather's money.
Oh, well, that sucks.
I look at it like this. I got room and board from March until August. So I'm okay with that. That and life lessons are everything.
All right, so I want to try something new on here and go over to where it shows this, because Harley has been struggling.
You weren't on my
stream.
live stream last night, were you?
No, I mean I was, but I see this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and I know you guys weren't surprised by this, but I honestly wanted to get my 2 cents in on this, which is that I think this is a dumb decision.
Why?
Because with the way riding is nowadays, all right, Harley already has hard enough time getting people onto Harleys that are younger. Yeah, I know their core demographic of older people, whatever. Getting younger people onto motorcycles is harder, especially when Indian has the FTR. And I know Harley's kind of chasing Indian with this, but I feel like the Bronx could have been something that competed with the FTR and could have given a decently priced bike like that to someone to compete and actually have an American-made sport bike again. Because I'm calling this a sport bike. The way it's set up, it's a freaking sport bike. It's not a cafe racer. That's a sport bike. And they missed the opportunity.
Well, it's a street fighter. I mean, that's what it is.
It is, but like they decided to do this, but it's. I know Harley's been struggling. I know Harley's had problems, but they had 2 bikes coming out that everyone was actually pretty excited about. And this is just way past wherever the hell it is.
Can I butt in right there and say that I think that there's excitement for that bike, but I think that the excitement is for guys like us who want to talk about it and want something for Harley to do different so that we can praise them and pat them on the back. But just like the Livewire, which I know no one who is rushing out to buy.
Well, yeah, the price tag, though.
People that are in a rush to buy this bike. I know people who say, oh man, as a sport bike guy, I gotta give them, it looks pretty cool, but I don't know any of those dudes who are ready to give up their CBR or their R6 or any of that shit.
Well,
but it could be someone who is moving off of a Honda Shadow into now a Harley Davidson.
Like imagine having a Harley.
Sportster, though.
Yeah, but dude, that thing would destroy a Sportster.
Oh yeah.
Like, let's be honest, that bike would destroy a Sportster.
Until they put that engine in the Sportster.
Even if they put that engine in the Sportster, it's not going to be geared the same. Like, you got to think of the different gearing that bike's going to have, because they know it's made as a Street Fighter bike. So it's going to have a different transmission, different everything, and it's going to make it to where that bike's like super fun and good to a young demographic. Like, and it wasn't like.
I don't make that assumption. I actually think that bike's going to be for what they're marketing it as, I don't think they're going to change much. I think it's going to be dick slow for what they're calling it.
I don't know, man. The numbers that they have released for that bike, it's the only, like, that and the Pan America are the only two Harleys ever in Harley's history to be released that show the horsepower. Like,
I thought the V-Rod did as well.
The V-Rod might have, but these ones are specifically showing the horsepower, which Harley's typical thing is to only show the torque, because Harley's always been a torque thing. And I think with the motor they put in that, with the water cooling, with the way it's set up,
but again, that's a marketing thing too. They're competitors for the Pan America. They're not sending out their torque numbers because no one cares about that. They care about the horsepower numbers.
Yeah.
So that's what they're advertising on there. But yes, it is a higher horsepower motor than what Harley's produced in the past. However, I think they need to get the Pan America out first because they can capture an audience that they need to capture today.
Which is something that's growing in popularity fast.
But it's the 30 to 45-year-old male, white male.
Racist.
Well, okay, but demographics are demographics.
Statistics.
Yeah. But that's what they need. That, let's face it, that's what carries Harley over year to year. And they need to start populating that market because those are going to be the guys that go and buy the baggers later on when they're in their midlife crisis. So that's something to consider. Now, the Street Fighter is great. They can capture a younger audience. But again, if they price it similarly as they did with the Livewire, they're going to price their core audience out of the market. So if we look at what the competition for this bike is, it's not going to be the FTR. It's going to be the Diavel, X-Diavel, whatever it is. That's the competition. You're also going to be looking at bikes in that lineup. So the muscular Street Fighter bikes.
So this is topspeed.com, which I don't know how reliable this is, but whatever. They're estimating that it's going to be on the high end 19,000 for the Pan America. Which, I mean, honestly, I'd pay 19 grand for that bike.
But 19 grand, and it won't have all those bags on there, just so you know.
Well, yeah, I know.
But 19 grand puts that in line with the BMW and the...
Exactly, with the Triumph Tiger.
Yeah. I was thinking it was going to be the Tiger S or whatever it is. The bigger motor. Yeah, the big motor Tiger. But I mean, it aligns with where it should be. And yeah, that's definitely an estimate, but and then, I would say that's the starting point. It's going to be like 17 or 18,999.
And they're estimating 15 grand for the Bronx, which still puts it in line with all the other sport bikes on the market, like the brand new ones. I mean, and
but it doesn't. 15 grand. Do the price tag on a 650 anything.
Well,
like
yeah,
a CBR 650, anything in the sport bike category.
Well, yeah, but the Bronx is 1,250, so we'll go 1,000.
Okay.
Sport bikes.
So yeah, look at the YZF-R1. That's what, a $10,000 bike.
$17,399.
Okay, never mind.
See what an MT9 costs.
Yeah.
MT9. Price. That's estimated price. I don't want the estimated price. What the hell is LA?
Right there, just the Yamaha Motorsports link. I'm pointing at my screen like that's going to help you.
Yeah, I'm going to totally see that. All right, so that's an 847.
Yeah, so this is the 900. They have a MT10, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Let's see what the MT, because that's 9,000 for that one. MT and 1299.
Yeah, that's where they would need to have this bike.
Yamaha R1 price. That's 17,399 So I mean, they're pricing themselves like if it's 15,000, they're still $2,000 underneath the
Underneath of a track ready sport bike.
It is, but still $2,000 less. It's a Harley, which everyone knows really means jack shit in the world of sport bikes.
Correct.
Except for definitely slower.
Well, it's.
I'm not trying to rag on Harley.
It's not the style. It's not what it's meant for.
Right.
You know, it's like the 750Rs. Those things are monsters. But they're a flat track motorcycle bike or motorcycle racing. So, I don't know.
10 awesome factory built Street Fighter motorcycles.
So right. Josh is asking, what is the KTM 1290? That's the Super Duke, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
That's around $19,000, I think.
What's up, Outback? What's up? So Josh wants KTM 1290, and that's the Super Duke. So before we look at that, we're going to go to KTM 1290. Is he looking like Super Duke price?
Right there. Oh, that's power.
KTM 2020. Wow, no one looks at the price on these things. Price. 18,699.
Okay.
I mean, I would buy that over the Bronx all day.
I would too, because it's
180 horsepower, 103 foot-pounds of torque, and just stupid fast.
Correct. I mean, it's a hell of a bike, but this doesn't compete with that.
No, the Super Duke is in a league of its own where it just destroys most other factory bikes.
What's the Triumph Super Cruiser?
You know about the Rocket?
Rocket 3. That's the class that the Super Duke plays in.
2450cc shaft driven.
21,000 for the R, 22 for the GT.
Yeah, that's the class, like the power, speed type of ratings.
2,500 cc's.
Yep.
Right. Well, it's a big ass bike.
And shaft. So it's also shaft driven, dude. I've ridden one of those, and
they're stupid.
Throttle wrong, it takes off.
Yeah.
And there's no
I test rode one of the new ones. They're insane.
There's a power band, but there's no power band, so to speak. In that, like, you crack that throttle, baby, and it just goes until you let go of the throttle.
All right. So with the Harley Bronx, right now I've got pulled up 10 awesome factory built Street Fighter motorcycles.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes into Street Fighter definition, blah, 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 blah. No one gives a shit.
Can we define it? I don't know if I know what the definition of a Street Fighter is then.
Okay, so if we're going to define it, you've heard the term Street Fighter, but what does it mean? Contrary to popular belief, a Street Fighter isn't just a naked sport bike. Traditionally, there's more Street Fighter than is naked nature.
Can you zoom in on the text? Because it's like super small.
That's what I do when I take pictures with my pants down, is I zoom in.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Actually,
how the hell do you zoom in on a freaking iMac?
The wide angle. So
yeah.
It's that nice, that fisheye look, and then I just use it to my advantage.
Yep.
That's real classy. Thank you, iPhone.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay, so don't read the entire definition. Paraphrase that.
Naked.
TLDR.
So, yeah, Street Fighter motorcycles are described as customized sport bikes that have been stripped of their fairings. There you go.
Okay,
removal
so
of the stock headlight, installation of taller handlebars, shorter,
more
louder,
fitted with upgrades, more aggressive.
It's an MT-09. That's what they're saying. It's not just an MT-09, but it's totally an MT-09.
Basically,
it's a cafe racing sport bike.
It's not a Diavol, but it's a Diavol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
BMW has a really nice one.
So
I guess.
I guess we'll look at this real quick. It says the top 10 factory built Street Fighter motorcycles. And then we can look at the prices on these. The Triumph Street Triple.
I don't like the look of those personally. It looks like a praying mantis to me. Like the lights just don't work. The headlight.
I kind of like it.
Everything else
like
is
it.
everything else I
because
like.
It's ugly.
It
Just
does.
like-
It fits that
It's the
title.
right kind of ugly.
It's got the headlights like a sport bike. They just remove the fairings.
I see that like that cowl thing on the top, almost like it's like one wing of like that could be like the bat bike. You know what I'm saying? That could just be like a little like Batman ear.
Okay. What'd
like
you
ugly
do,
shit.
Mick?
Whatever.
Oh, you're pulling up other angles.
So that bike at max is 12.5.
Mm-hmm.
So we can really get a good view of this bike though, which is just off screen. There we go. So that is the Triumph Street Triple.
Isn't that what Shade Tree's girl rides?
I'm not 100% sure. I mean, I like the way it looks.
There's another one called a Speed Triple as well.
Oh, that might be what.
That might be on the list.
Yeah.
All right, so that one's 12.5. The Kawasaki, damn, dude, that looks mean. The Z900,
It's an
the
MTO.
Z1000 was a beast. So there is a Z1000. 900, yeah. So 948 cc's, 126 horsepower, and 73 foot-pounds of torque. So Harley's numbers, if they are accurate, are pretty in line with a lot of these bikes.
Mm-hmm.
Kawasaki Z900. Let's see how ugly this is. That's actually not ugly at all.
Yeah, it's a good looking bike.
That is a very good looking bike.
It's like an MT09 with like mean looking stock headlight.
Yeah.
Like it looks angry.
And the price on it
kinda
is
looks like anime angry,
8399.
though, it's like two little triangles.
I already know where we're going with this, honestly. These prices on these bikes that are already well established in that Street Fighter market, the Suzuki GS, yeah.
I've heard
Honda
that thing's a piece of junk.
Honda CBR 1000 or CB 1000R. That's
So
a
Honda, you
mean.
can't kill the motor.
What is that? Honda C
Probably around the 9, maybe 10.
or 9 or 10, you think?
That's 13.
13.
And it's look, Harley, you're paying the Harley tax. I get that. And look, everyone keeps dogging on Harley not having the background in sport style motorcycles, but everyone keeps forgetting about Buell and MV Agusta, which both were owned and operated by Harley.
And in fairness, both failed.
Not really.
No.
Exists.
MV Agusta
Right
got
there.
bought for cheap, and it was some executive's wet dream to have a hyper luxury sport bike company. And that's what MV Agusta is. It is a high end sport bike company. I mean, it's like the Ferrari of motorcycles.
Right.
Well, I don't know if that's the right.
Well, let's think about why you wouldn't buy a Buell today, even an old used Buell for a good price, because where are you going to get Buell parts?
Dude, that is such a mean looking bike.
You can still get the parts from Eric Buell Racing or whoever owns it.
I
A
would
lot of those bikes you can't get parts for, man.
look at that. That is such.
Yeah, what's the price tag on that bad boy?
Now you're looking at like Diavels and Monsters.
This is This is in the same.
I know what I'm
Grounds.
saying, like body style. Like
Okay. 2020. Okay, well, I guess we have to go 2019. 18,498. So I guess that one would be in the area.
That's probably one of their cheapest bikes.
KTM Duke Triumph Speed Strip. Oh, the Speed Triple. There it is. 148 horsepower. Yamaha MT-09. Wigsley's bike he wants.
It's a good looking bike.
Honestly, dude, no, for a bunch of reasons. If I was going to buy a sport bike, I think that's the sport bike I would buy.
I would buy this in heart. Like, if I was buying a sport bike, if I was going to get rid of my Heritage and buy a bike.
From a style perspective, I think KTM owns the Street Fighter market just from the styling aesthetic.
Well, not just that. They're great machines.
Oh.
They're stupid fast, too. But, like, that is, like, the meanest looking motorcycle I've ever seen.
Dude, that's the one Walter bought, and then he spent a bunch of money like trying to get rid of all the orange. He had the hardest time getting rid of that bit on the headlight. He like tried to send it to a guy, and he finally landed on just putting like gaffer's tape over it. It's gonna be like $3,000 to change a headlight shade.
But like, look at that, dude! Like, just the profile of that bike. And let's be honest, this is like a track bike rainy day. It does seem like it's a little bit small. That seems like an average size dude sitting on that bike. But like that's the problem, is that there's all these other bikes, and I understand that Harley's, getting to that point where, especially because of everything going on, that they are stuck where they're at. But I mean, like, comparing the Pan America to the other bikes in its class.
What Harley needs to do right now is ditch the extra weight. Like, there's a couple of spots where there's some redundancy within the lineup.
Like the Softail Standard and the Street Pop?
Yeah.
Just offer me 2 options on one bike. Don't offer me 2 different bikes. As someone who, just started really learning the difference between the different Harleys and the eras of Harley, being able to say, oh, that's an FXR from 30 feet away. Oh, that's a dyno. Oh, that's a Softail. Oh, that's got to be between this year and that year. I didn't grow up with all that, and I just started learning it a few years ago. And getting into it, it's like, it seems like a lot, even though it's really not, because we all know Harley makes essentially 4 bikes right now. They make the street line, the Sportster line, the Softail, the touring line. And there are differences within those. But if you add it up, there's like 18 Harleys, and they're trying to add whole new categories. Get rid of some of those redundancies and build new classes. And then just have like 1 bike really, or 2 bikes for each class, and then have like 18 different options within the bike. You want it all chromed out? Cool. You want it all blacked out? It's this much more.
So looking at...
So the issue with that is, who's doing the work? Is it being done from the factory? If so, how long are you going to have to wait? And you don't really have the option of just going to the dealership, hopping on a bike and rolling out if they don't have one that's got the right color forks or whatever.
So
I think Sonic
people would not be willing to wait for their thing, and that there would also be people who would go, well, I'd really like it like this, but I'm standing here today and I want to ride out today, so I will take the thing they have. I think you get both.
Well, it's production, dude. It's the amount of things you put out versus like custom bikes. They're making these motorcycles on an assembly line. And when you get to the point where you're like, oh, I want to order this bike, it makes it so that assembly isn't just assembling bikes, it's getting into more customization before it gets there. Now, if they had that where the bike shipped with an appearance package that the dealership put on.
Okay, as somebody who works in manufacturing, I agree with that in theory, but look at Ford. And granted, Ford sells exponentially more cars than the entire motorcycle industry sells motorcycles. But there are options packages on cars. They can tell from year to year. There's a way to do the logistics to know, okay, 1/4 of them that we sell are the deluxe package, and half of them we sell are the standard baseline. And so you can kind of start to gauge, okay, well, for every bike we make, we should assume that we're going to make a third blacked out, half of them maybe, the standard chrome and black or
Well,
whatever
the other side of it too, something I've always thought about was the modularity of their parts or the interchangeability of their parts.
Yes,
So
modularity.
if they had the same frame for like the Sportster, the Softail, and your differences start happening in the suspension or in a subframe situation is where you start seeing that. Cool. But when you have forks that are different on the Sportster, they're different on two different models of the Softail, and then in the touring family you only have the one, but you lack the interchangeability to have, okay, today we're manufacturing black forks and that's all it is. And they can just say, okay, we need to manufacture 950 bikes today that have black forks. It doesn't matter what model it is. They just need black forks.
Right.
And again, I get it too. The Sportster model, the frame, the suspension, everything, it has a specific purpose, just like the touring. I get that. If there's a way to make things like the auto manufacturers do, where they build on a platform,
right,
that may help it out.
Which they sort of already do. I mean, the Sportster is kind of that. The Sportster is kind of the perfect example of what that is, where there's, 5 Sportsters at any given time?
Yeah.
And they're essentially all the same bike, but you got the 48, so you got a different front end. You know
right.
I mean?
So whenever we talk about Sportster, Softail, touring, that is a frame. That's all that is.
Right.
Well, I mean, the Softails do have 2 different frames, though.
No.
There is.
No.
And
Softail is one frame.
Yep.
Has 2 different forks.
Well, no, because you look at the backside of it. So, like, comparing a Fat Boy to a Heritage, or that Fat Boy has the wider swing arm in the back. It has differences to it.
That's the suspension. It's not the frame.
Well, the frame has to be able to hold that in there. Like, the frame's a little bit wider for the FX version of the Softails versus the FLs. And this is something I've done a lot of research on, because the FL, so basically the Heritage is a decked out Softail Slim. All right, we can all agree on that. The Softail Slim is the Heritage is just a decked out Softail Slim. The Deluxe is just a more decked out, less than the Heritage, but more than the Softail Slim. So if you could buy a Softail Slim and have the appearance package of a Heritage, they're all the same.
But what we're saying is the frame of the Softail. If it's an FX frame or an FL frame, it's the same frame. The suspension, so the FL, you're getting that larger front light, the thicker forks, the different style forks, and you're getting a different swing arm. So that's the changes. Now the Fat Boy is its own unique thing because it does have a much wider rear tire. But
I don't know, is what the bracket that holds on the fender, is that separate from the frame itself, or is that something that's the same? Because I know I could not put a FXDR rear wheel on my Heritage if I wanted to. I'd have to widen the frame in the back to be able to handle that fender.
You're not handling the fender. You're handling where the pinch point is on the swing arm.
My fender.
They're spacers.
I have a 180 rear tire on my bike right now,
and
that fills up my whole fender and basically the space into which that fender fits. An FXDR has like a 250 rear tire, so it stretches out the rear of the bike, or like at least that area where the fender sits on, to be able to fit that 200.
I haven't looked at a Heritage without a seat on it in forever, but how does the fender connect to the bike? Does it connect to frame horns?
Or I guess frame.
So it's something that it could just be that the frame horns need to be moved out Not
I don't think those are bolted on. I'm not 100% sure on that. I've never actually looked at putting a big rear tire on the back of my bike. But if it, and
Well,
I
you would
guess
have to ditch your fender. Your fender's what's in the way, not the frame.
I still, even if I ditch my fender, the frame of which could fit in there is still not wide enough to fit a 220 tire. Like my 180, my
Your
Shinko
tire
180.
doesn't go into the front end of your frame, dude. It goes.
What do you mean?
It's in the swing arm. The swing arm is a separate piece, which is not your frame.
Yes, but I'm talking about where the fender mounts to. That's the big change, is if that's attached directly to the frame or if that's bolted on there through frame horns. You know, that's my big question.
It's bolted on.
For that one, it is?
I think so.
So I could put.
I'm fairly confident. I'm picturing Steve's bike right now in the garage.
Because, like, I never really look at that because I have saddlebags covering that shit. So I never.
Yeah, it all bolts off. None of that.
If the horns bolt on there, then the frame could be the same. In general, like, I'm not saying there's like some drastic change in the frame, but if the frame horns are welded on versus bolted on, it makes it to where technically you could say there's two different frames. The soft tail frame is going to be the same, where it's got the monoshock, it's got to look like it's a hardtail, but everything else has to be widened in that rear end because that FXDR rear tire is fat. Also, does the FXDR rear wheel sit between? Or has it got a single swing arm?
okay. So if you wanted to go to, I'm looking at wide tire conversions. Okay, so the 2018 Softail, if you wanted to go to a 250 millimeter wide tire, there's a conversion kit.
So the horns are bolted on there, and they're not.
By the looks of it, it's just there's a Fender conversion kit. So yeah, that's all it is. Heartlandbiker.com.
Ha!
Heartlandbiker.com. Wired tire conversions. And bikes. Dyno models. I don't want Jesus pictures. Softail. Here we go. 25, 2017, 2018. Breakout and Fat Boy, Softail M828 2018 to present. Easy 200 rear fender. So that's a 200. So it is bolted on right there, according to the. Well, I mean, I don't know how accurate this picture is. If this is actually a real 18, but it looks, by the looks of it, it's just going to be the two horns get unbolted.
Yeah,
and it just puts a new fender on there.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I've always said like the Softail lineup could save Harley. I stand by that, just because it is that bike that could be marketed to a younger demographic, especially with like the Lowrider S, the new one. But you've got the FX and you got the FL. You know, what if you just had one base bike that could be turned into either one? But I guess that kind of throws out the Fat Bob, because that's in its own little.
No. The Fat Bob's the 48 of the midline.
It is.
Your Fat Bob stays. Your Lowrider S stays. I say get rid of the traditional Lowrider.
I thought you loved Buckhorn
cool
bars
because it bridges the gap. But like, do you need every single one of the models in between those?
So he said, so could you use Lowrider S forks, inverted forks on the Heritage or Deluxe? Yes.
If you change the entire front end, do you need those triple trees?
They're
the same ones that are on the Fat Bob.
Yeah, the neck is the same. You could actually put that on there, but then you'd have to get another thing because that one runs dual disc front brakes versus the single, like the Heritage, the FL models has.
So does the Fat Bob.
So you'd have to probably get different brake boosters and everything.
You know something I just realized?
What's that?
There's not a Sportster line anymore.
What do you mean?
What do you mean,
There
Harley?
there is no
on their website.
2020 Sportsters. They are streets.
Oh yeah, I saw
Stop.
that. I saw that because they did that about the same time they slipped the Heritage over to the touring line.
Yeah.
So bikes.
Well, they can lie
Motorcycles,
about it if
street.
they want. Y'all know, wow.
Yeah, look at that. What's this, a street Sportster? Or is it just a Harley Street
No,
48?
it's a street Iron 883, a street 48,
click on
a
it. See
street
if it
Roadster.
even
I've
says
already looked.
Sportster.
It doesn't say Sportster
None
anywhere.
of them say Sportster on the gas tank.
Not that I
48.
saw.
Get the fuck out of here.
Street 2020 48. Look at that.
Wow.
Wow.
I am doing a video about that tomorrow. That's
Content.
dude, the entire community on YouTube for like 5 years now has been like, Harley's gonna kill the Sportster, and like,
Well, I'm
They
actually
just
kind of worried about
slid
that
it
because Harley is doing away with the street line.
no, Harley Davidson Street 750 Street Rod.
Yeah, but is that for
Those
2020?
are gay as hell, by the way. Like, even if I was a chick, I wouldn't want one of those.
They got the 2020. Who knows if they're gonna be around for 2021? And then look at this, like Electric Light Standard Heritage Classic.
But
This does
count
not
how many of those there are.
belong.
1, 2, 3,
1,
4,
2, 3,
5,
4.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's like 13, 14, 15 of those.
Well, we can leave out the CVOs. The CVOs can just be their own little world. But like
Sure.
Road Glide Special, Road Glide Limited.
10 plus options.
Like honestly, it's what it is.
Cadillac doesn't sell 10 Escalades, dude. That's my point.
They sell 3 of them.
That's a little that's intimidating to the customer that doesn't know what that is.
Yeah, but the only bike they're wanting to sell you is this one right here. This is the bike that Harley wants to sell you. Every freaking time. Someone's like,
starts at 22.
and this is just a regular street glide.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I fucking hate street glides. I absolutely hate street glides. I understand it's one of Harley's iconic bikes, but I don't honestly understand.
Wait. What makes the Street Glide iconic, or what makes a Harley
I
model
wouldn't call it even
iconic?
popular.
It's only been around past 2 decades.
Yeah,
What, 2007, 8, 9?
I would agree with Mick that it is one of their current flagship bikes.
Yes, it is one of their top selling bikes. That is correct.
He's right. It is what they want to
well,
sell.
no, I mean, I'm defining icon as a bike that everyone can identify as a Harley Davidson.
Right. They won't know what model Harley that is. They will know that is a Harley.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's the one, like, yeah, Road King, whatever. But, like, that bike right there, if you see the Batwing, people know it's a Harley.
Yeah.
You know? And that's, like, even this one, we've made jokes about my bike. You know, what it is.
It looks like a weak Road King. That's the Road Queen. Heritage is the Road Queen. It's the smaller
factory Heritage is I could go with that. The factory Heritage is.
Yeah, the Road Queens. There you go.
Let's be honest though, the frames are exactly the same size.
What?
Yeah.
It's a completely different frame.
The frames are exactly the same size.
Okay, dimension maybe, but it's a completely different frame.
Well, it is a different frame, but the dimensions on the bike are exactly the same.
Okay.
I'm sorry, they're off by a ½ inch. Except for the suspension on the Heritage is much better than the Road King.
It's a lot of difference when you're talking what suspension you can fit in there.
Yeah, but I would pick the suspension on a Softail over a Harley touring model all day. The Harley touring model hasn't picked up a new, like, yeah, they've kept the same style too. Like, they have one shock and one damper now, but that's not really an update. That's just sidestepping.
Wait, what are you talking about?
So instead of having the 2 shocks like they had before the Milwaukee 8s came out,
Mm-hmm. Okay,
right.
That on the Softails.
No, on like the touring models. The touring models had the 2 shocks in the back before the Milwaukee 8 version came out. On the
I still have 2 shocks on the back of all of all the last 4 bikes I've had, which are all Milwaukee 8 touring.
You do not have 2 shocks. You have 1 shock and 1 damper. Believe it or not, they actually changed that. If you look at it, it's got 1 shock and 1 damper. The left side, if you're looking at it, the bike from the back, the left side should be a damper. The one on the right should actually be a shock. And I said that because I was like, I made a video, and in the video I talked about how Harley hasn't updated their suspension, and a dude that owns a Harley dealership called me out on it and said, like, yeah, man, they actually changed it to where one's a shock and one's a damper.
And I haven't looked on my new bike yet, but on my Road Glide Special, I have 2 springs on the back of my bike.
Yeah, so let's see if we can actually see Road King. Let's click at Road King and see if it talks about the suspension at all. Does Harley, man, when they change these websites, it just goes
2020 Street Road King. They're just gonna put street in front of like every bike now. The 2021 Harley Street Pan America Street Fighter Special.
All right, drivetrain chassis. It doesn't. Why? Electric. They really took down everything on this website because they actually used to talk about this stuff. But let's see. 2018 Road and Glide suspension. Olin's Harley Road Glide suspension. Oh, these are all upgrade parts. Factory suspension. They just have all these upgrades for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I wish I had 2018 Road Glide, no bags.
Hey Johnny, how far do you live from Austin?
It's about an hour and 20 minutes or so, depending on what part of Austin I have to go to.
Okay, second question, follow up. How hard are you going to try and stalk Joe Rogan like 6 months from now?
Not at all.
No?
I don't listen to him, so I'm not a fan of his.
I guess a Road King might be a better option. It's a 20. That's not 2020. Dude, I did not realize how hard it was to find a picture of a Road King without bags on it. That's kind of cool. I've never seen that. They had like a little slim kit to it.
I wonder if that's just an older look or an older model. Oh,
No,
wait.
It's a bagless
That's a
kit.
cover. Yeah. Okay.
That's pretty cool. 2018, let's see, 2017 Harley's new suspension. Need to fall. Yeah. New emulsion text for the planet to the ground. Yeah, 2017 Touring Light of new front and rear suspension. Here we go. Bagger's Mag. Really? Ad will close in 30 seconds. Well, screw you too then. Let's click on it again. Go right back in. Wheel on road. And then do it. So it translate well. Let's get into the front upgrades first.
Do you guys remember when the Softail line came out and they were giving free Softails to celebrities? And they gave one to Jason
Are you still
Momoa,
pissed off about
and they
that?
spray painted it black?
Oh.
No. No, that's stupid. That was badass.
Everyone was so butthurt about that.
Aquaman. Are you Aquaman?
Yeah, single knob to a hydraulically adjust preload. Doesn't talk about it. Come on.
Because it's fake news, son.
It's not fake news. I bet you right now, if you go take a picture or go look at your suspension, one of them is a damper and one of them is a shock.
Are fake news. You're the lying media.
Anywho.
Yeah. So that's Harley's, I guess, upgrade for their suspension, whatever. Back to the sports. Back to the Sportster thing. I wonder if new title indicates they make it as a Sportster or street. They indicate they make it as a sport. It's a street. So we decided that it is going to be a street. It's a street 48. That's stupid.
That's the most offensive thing of 2020.
That is. Like, Harley's just like, everyone else is like, everything sucks. Everyone's like, this couldn't get any worse. And Harley's like, hold my beer.
Dude, I'm severely offended.
I just bought a new Harley. It's a street, and like walk out there and it's a 48, and I'll be like so freaking burnt.
Dude, and you know what hurts the most about that is the unceremonious, sanctimonious, like, all right, like it or not, part of what you give Harley money for when you have a $10,000 to $12,000 motorcycle budget is for it to the word iconic came up earlier, and having Sportster painted on your gas tank still fucking means something in America, but apparently not to the new people in charge at Harley. Is that new people in charge? Am I right with that?
I think it's been around, just no one caught it or no one blew it up.
Yeah, I think no one blew it up, but I think that's real recent.
That's why, I mean, I'm guessing that's why on all the Harley, all the Sportsters, wait, what the hell? What?
Your eyes just lit up like Tony Stark and shit.
Dude, I did not realize they did this.
What?
Do you see what they did?
It's a Roadster. They brought the Roadster back.
No, do you notice the tank?
Street Roadster.
That's the same design as the 1200Rs.
Yeah.
It's the XLR, the Roadster.
I'm literally trying to find a picture with any one of these that has like Sportster somewhere on it. But it's so insulting to see these two sad sacks of shit next to like one of the iconic Harley, the one that's been around the longest produced bike ever from Harley Davidson.
It looks like they're trying to get away with doing sort of what I was saying and really consolidating things and making it simpler, but they're trying to get away with doing that with trash in a good lineup. I fucking hate those streets. They're like, your money's so much better spent on those cool new Honda Rebels.
Now, if you do take the fairing off, they do look pretty cool.
Did you sat on one?
Yeah, I have.
It's teeny tiny, dude.
That's what she said.
Yeah. You owe Steve Carell money now. Legally.
You knew it was coming.
I'm Googling this just to see what pops up. Wow, it even says the Street 750, the Street Rod, Iron. Wow, I am thoroughly burnt right now.
He is shocked and appalled.
I am shook.
Let's riot, dude. I say we peacefully protest.
Peacefully.
Screw that, dude. They get
super peacefully.
Well, you know what? It's like I got a 13 Sportster 48, and it's going to remain a Sportster 48. It's not gonna be a Street 48.
No, you know what? I have two Sportsters. They just became collector's items. One of them's bone stock and 30 years old.
They killed the Sportster name
without saying anything.
Dude,
I didn't see one YouTube video I didn't get one email from Harley. Harley emails me like
and look at this, dude.
a week
Hey,
about fucking nothing.
Look at the top, dude. Harley Street, and the picture of it is a Street 750 or a street. Let's call it a street rod. That's a street rod. It's a street rod, not like I can't even call it a Sportster now. It's a
makes
street
it a
iron 883.
Kinda. That's disrespectful.
I don't even know where to. Wow, this just threw me off, dude. Because and look at the price. Oh my god, dude. Iron 883 versus street rod.
Haha.
There's a $300 difference.
Stop.
The street rod's 8699. The iron is 899.
Well, did you notice the 500's completely gone?
Yeah, well, I mean, I already saw that coming.
Okay.
Trying to buy a Harley scooter.
Here you go, buddy.
Would you send it over to?
No, I'm about to share my screen.
Oh, okay.
This is on a Milwaukee 8 Road King, the standard Road King. Right there. That's a spring.
Okay, what's on the other side?
The exact same thing.
Yeah, dude.
What's on the other side? I want to see it.
Well, I can't show you that, but this is the exact
same thing.
It's the exact same thing.
I could have answered this question 45 minutes ago. It's two independent shocks. The shocks have dampeners in them, but it is two shocks.
So what Harley did go away from, I believe, was the air shock.
Yep. Correct.
You don't have to have that stupid freaking hand pump thing.
You just have like the ball like they used to have on those Nikes. All right, I'm going to see if this shows.
There we go. So I've been debating, and both of y'all are motor vloggers, so I'll get y'all's opinion. Moving to an all GoPro setup. So like my webcam right now is a GoPro. I have like a bunch of them. Do I go for the GoPro Max?
No.
So just stick with the black, the Hero 8 Black. Well, I'm going to wait until the 9 comes out next month. See what that looks like.
I think at certain points, once you get past that looks completely different though.
Stick with the GoPro.
I think once you get past the 7 or the 8, those are Russ Weirmont's. Oh, that's why.
Do you have any of the older GoPros and the mic adapters?
Yeah. So I have 2, like this one right here, and another one are both Hero 5s, and then I have another one that's a Hero 7.
Okay.
And then I also have my 4.
Okay.
So whatever, I might get butthurt. People get butthurt about this, but I don't care. So that's the left side. And that's how that looks. Is you can see the shaft. The right side, it's inverted. What? No, it is. It's different. So you see that.
I see a spring. Okay,
So
now
spring
rewind it.
shaft.
Rewind it.
Uh-huh.
Got to do this like
Right there. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's another spring. Above it
is
your preload adjuster. That's all it is.
Yep.
That black box above it, it's a preload adjuster.
Okay, there's a preload adjuster.
Yeah.
There's this the piston and everything. See that bump stop right there.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The other side doesn't have that.
Correct. Doesn't have to have it.
Because you can only adjust one side.
Because they're linked.
Where?
You see that thing that goes between the two wheels that connects the wheel to the bike.
Right here. The
Yeah.
axle.
There you go. So that ties it together. And also, you see that thing at the very top of the spring? It looks like a bolt.
Yeah, I know that.
That's a bolt.
Yes. Oh shit.
And that connects it to the frame.
So that's suspension.
Yeah. You only need one side to control what's happening. That right there, that entire swing arm, and see everything on the touring bike, a real touring bike, not a heritage.
That looks like a damper.
Okay. And
What's it?
So damper, shock.
Okay. A shock with
And-
a damper on it. Hey, a shock with a damper on it. It's still a shock, dude. 2 shocks on the bike. Putting a damper on one side doesn't make it like weird mono shock.
so here's the thing: the suspension, the rear suspension
There is
on
no
a motorcycle.
Look at
is-
that. Those are not attached together. Those are not connected.
They are.
Okay, where's the hose in the middle?
Inherently, all
Okay, you don't need to
I know it's not a
have
hose, but you know what I mean.
in this setup. You only have to control the rate on one side, unlike in a car where the suspension moves separately on all 4 wheels. On a motorcycle, whatever the left side of the front fork is doing, the right side of the front fork is doing. Whatever the rear side. So that's how it's connected. You only have to have the damper on one side. What's the point of having it on both sides? Just have 2 smaller dampers?
You're adjusting preload on one side, and the other side does it.
It controls it
for the other side.
So whenever you're dealing with it, so I see what you're saying, Mick. And on a car, yes, you're correct. On this, you're controlling the swing arm with the preload. This is an aftermarket setup.
Well, this is Russ Weirmann's ones they're putting on, but
but from the stock one, you only have to control one side because you're controlling the swing arm. The dampener the swing arm is being controlled by that one dampener. So you only have to make an adjustment on one side instead of having to go in and adjust both sides.
Halfway each.
On the old school bikes, you had to go in and pump up the stupid shock, the air shock. You had to pump them up separately and try to balance them out. It's stupid. And then they moved to one where the shocks were connected through a piece of shit plastic hose, and then they would equalize themselves out. But I think you're trying to go way too deep in the weeds on this one, bud.
I still think there's a damper and one. Like they both have springs. They both have springs. Okay.
They're both shocks.
Just because you have springs doesn't mean you're a shock. I mean that's.
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
No. Mick is correct. No. So, a suspension has a shock or a strut.
And then the spring
and
around
some type of spring, be it a leaf spring or a coilover type of setup.
Yes, I understand.
So, to Mick's point, yes, he is correct. On Harleys, they're coilovers.
Yes,
so, yes, both sides have springs. One side has a dampener on it. Okay, I see what you're saying now.
Dwayne Sapp.
There it is. I see what you're saying.
One is the shock, one is a damper.
They're both shocks. One has a damper.
No, one is actual preloaded, like as a shock that absorbs it, and the damper is what's going to be.
I was getting to where you were. Once I talked it out, I started understanding where you were coming from, Mick.
It's not 2 shocks like traditionally Harley had. It's one
like on
damper.
my Sportster, they're the same.
Yeah. It's the same. It's the same exact thing. One's a damper, one's a shock. Where I'm not saying that it doesn't have 2 shocks in the back, or 2 springs in the back, I should say.
Right. So How about we'll just say that both sides are correct in that what you meant by what you were saying, Mick, is correct. What Wiggs and what we meant with what we were saying was correct because we were talking about the springs, and you were talking about the actual
Inside.
shock.
Yeah,
So,
the actual shock itself. They both have springs, but like when they slip that in there, that one is a damper inside the spring,
that's what she said.
and the other one is a shock.
The next thing Dwayne says is the most accurate piece
It is,
out of all of
yes,
it.
100%. Harley shock are junk anyway. They are. Yeah. But all I'm saying is Harley did make a change to their suspension to where it wasn't two shock absorbers. It was, I should have said that, shock absorbers. There's one damper and one shock absorber. They both have the springs. So that it helps with something. I don't know. It's junk anyways. Get those Rust Wear Mount ones. They're way better. Or Legend. One of
Legend. The two. Here's the thing. When you have Uncle Ken praising anything, you pay attention.
He is not the type to praise things.
He doesn't give it unless it's earned.
Dude, he hated Blockhead.
But I will say, yeah, HD shock and damper are junk anyways. Go Air Ride Legends. I wouldn't go with Air Ride. Forget Air Ride. I would go hydraulic, like they put on that bike. Like Air Ride is good until it gives out, and if your Air Ride gives out, then you're just, yeah.
So I have 2 project cars that I'm hoping to start soon. As soon as we get our next house, I'm starting them. But one of them is a 1966 Chevy C10 truck.
Ooh.
And I just subscribed to the Power Nation Plus thing. And so I've been watching, and damn, the C10 on airbags.
There's a difference. Hey, there's a difference between Air Ride and airbags. Let's be honest. It's,
yeah, 100%.
The airbags are good. Air Ride is like, because you can replace a bag.
Correct.
Replacing your Air Ride means,
I've seen some really badass bagged Harleys, bagged baggers.
They look cool.
Yeah.
They normally have the cool little kickstand that's hydraulic or electronic that comes down the middle.
Yeah, the center stand.
So when they set it down.
Housden from Southern Illinois Customs, Sick Baggers, SIK. He's built some badass air ride baggers.
The baddest baggers I've ever seen is Motor Witch. That dude.
Don't know what that is. Those, I haven't seen their bikes.
Have you guys seen that?
It's a guy, dude. He just makes.
Glide?
That's Motor Witch.
Bagger, and it's all like, it looks like it's made out of like taffy.
Oh,
it looks like it's made out of like silicone material for like your little dab jar.
I will hold on. What is it? Who did it?
Oh,
Fired.
Type in a rainbow bagger, rainbow road glide bagger.
Wow, it's just gonna show a Harley. Rainbow road glide bagger. This?
It's like tie dye. It's all like yellow and red and like green. It's none of those.
Rubber coated road glide. Nope.
No.
Tie dye.
No, it looks like it's made out of like mad cotton candy.
I think I know. There it is.
Yep.
Wow, what the fuck kind of picture is that?
What did you do? You went to a pornography site. Dude,
this road glide is on a Pinterest with a bunch of
crazy for tie-dye.
Crazy for tie-dye.
Winning.
Yeah, it's hot, dude.
I don't know. I think big wheel baggers are stupid.
No, the big front wheel's gay.
So I want to do a
and I don't mean that defensively to gay people.
I want to do a fat tire
on your bike.
Yeah.
The fat tire road glides.
Dude, like a fat Bob
Yeah.
bagger would be tight.
I don't want to do shopping because I can't afford that. Yeah, like those, like
click on that.
glides.
There you go. Yeah.
The Baggers and Brews. Go check those guys out on YouTube. They make good content.
But yeah, you get one of those, you put airbags or an air ride on that bad boy, center stand, you just roll up, hit your button, pop out your center stand, just lay it on it, walk away. Yeah. I mean, look, it's not going to pull any women for you, but it will definitely attract all the dudes. They see you roll up on that thing.
I want this. Fat tire soft tail scooter.
That's cute. Would I ride that up to the gas station?
Like
some motherfucking fries.
Dude, whoa.
Deuce.
Look at that. That's pretty dope. I don't know. I will say Fat Tire Road Glide is probably the meanest looking bike, especially if you get that lowering kit for your fairing. You know what? I've always had an affliction for those older road glides with that front tire. I think they just look super mean.
See, I just need a better aftermarket. Look at
that. Fat tire, dropped fairing.
But here's the thing, though. You have no suspension with that. That has to be a air ride. You couldn't. I don't know. Maybe it's just the angle it's sitting.
What the f is this?
Adorable.
A V-Rod that someone turned into the tumbler from Batmobile. Jesus.
Good for them.
Yeah.
I honestly want, like, well, now I've got
Dude, I wish I had enough money to have a V-Rod to do dumb
looking
shit too.
Harleys.
The V-Rod's such a cool bike, and so few cool, really custom things have been done to it.
Okay. Well, I'll blow that out of the water real quick.
Let's see V-Rod bagger.
Yeah, nothing cool has been done to the V-Rod, right?
No. I just mean, like...
Holy shit, that's beautiful.
Doper than shit, but they all look the same. Because that bike really lends itself to, like, one thing. Done really well. Skank rod, shark
rod. V-Rod, road, glide, fairing. There we go.
Oh, Lord.
The old school.
That all black one.
Like, that's dope. Jesus. Wow. That's a lot. That's not a V-Rod. No. They call them like shark rods. Like that, right there. There you go. It loads.
I bet that damn thing is fast.
Dude, it actually looks pretty cool. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. They look cool.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I wonder how much slower it is with that.
Probably not.
Probably not that much.
I've been learning more and more around aerodynamics, and it is shocking how much it can play an effect.
I don't know, man, because like when you look at a bike like that, though, how fast it is, when you take away the wind resistance on your body, even though you do add a fairing to it, it actually could help you out in the long run because it's taking all the wind, like basically the parachute of your body out of the equation.
Yeah, I think could be a point. Good point.
I would love to have that. But I mean, I still roguelike. I mean, that or Indian Challenger. Like that just looks mean the way it sits. Just saying. I know you're all going to be about the fit and finish on it, but
I mean, outside of the little Indian head icon on the front,
which could easily be deleted.
right? I mean, outside of that, I mean, it looks like a really good Chinese knockoff road glide.
That will destroy Rogue Glide in every aspect, including having a key fob to lock your bags as you're walking away at less than what the Rogue Glide cost.
Okay. That none of that matters to the person who's buying a road glide instead of an Indian Challenger.
I've ridden a Rogue Glide and a Challenger, and the Challenger is way better balanced. Like right from the riding aspect only. All right, if you're leaving looks and everything out of it in the Harley name, if you were to take a rider that did not know either bike and took all the badges and everything off of it, and
I will say, so I haven't ridden the Challenger, but I have ridden like the Springfield Dark Horse, and I had a Road King that was set up pretty close to what that one was. So I will say, no matter what, that the handling and the responsiveness of the motor definitely goes to Indian.
They do. I mean,
but that only matters to people who care about strictly performance.
Well,
if people care about the look or the design of the bike, Indian's not going to win.
I still think, and like I minus that little Indian head, I think from the factory you compare the two bikes. Like, because I mean, yeah, there's going to be people that are going to buy the Rogue Glide just because it's a Harley. They wanted that.
Right. And there's going to be people who buy the Challenger because it's not a Harley.
But from the experience standpoint of both bikes, I would say ride quality versus ride quality and all of the aspects of it, the Indian Challenger, like riding it, felt like riding my Softail. Like the comfortability of it, the maneuverability of it, the way it felt, the balance of it. Right. And I think that's because it's more. I mean, that was originally going to be a Victory. That Indian Challenger was originally going to be a Victory before Victory died. And that's why, most people don't realize this, but when you look at the Indian Challenger, or at the stream, when you look at it from the front, there's got to be a front angle of this. There we go. So that's why when you look at the Indian Challenger from the front, the headlights are set up in the way of a V. Like just the design. Yeah, they could probably change it a little bit to become an Indian.
You do realize the only part of that bike that was originally going to be for Victory was the motor. That's it. Just the power plant.
Dude, the Victory, the Indian Challenge, like I will say, versus riding like the other Indians.
But what I'm saying though, from Victory standpoint, their touring bike was the Vision, but the engine is the only thing that Polaris brought over and gave to Indian. That's all it was.
I don't know, man, because like it rides like no other. Like it doesn't ride like any Indian. Like the Indians really feel to me like if I was comparing like a Chieftain to like a Road King. All right.
So,
or a Springfield. I guess Springfield would be more the one towards the Road King.
Right.
The Springfield felt heavy. It felt fat. It didn't feel smooth to me. Like compared to like a Road King, the Springfield felt heavier. But the Challenger,
I looked at it from the standpoint of if I wanted strictly performance, I would go to Indian.
I would.
But if I wanted to go for total package, I would go to Harley. And yes, I get it. I'm sacrificing the performance aspect, but I'm getting the fit, the finish, the things I care about.
Yeah, but the fit and finish, like on a Harley, right? If you get a regular Road Glide, all right, just a regular standard Road Glide, not the
Mm-hmm.
Road Glide Special, not the Ultra, whatever, you have no touchscreen. You have no navigation. Like navigation is there, but not. It's everything on the Challenger is thought about. Even the standard, like, because they took the idea Wigsley had and like that style and ran with it, to where the Challenger is the same exact bike, but we're going to offer 3 different packages to it for basically appearance.
Mm-hmm.
Because the regular Road Glide doesn't have the Stage 2 audio. You got to upgrade all that. It doesn't come with anything blacked out, any of that stuff.
Correct.
You look at the Indian Challenger from the standard to the whatever their Ultra or whatever the hell they call it. It is completely different. It's completely different compared to Harley, I should say, because the standard one comes with the navigation. It comes with all the connect your phone and all that kind of stuff. It comes with the 3 ride modes. It comes with active navigation that's actually really good. It comes with everything.
Is that the
already,
one that has the windshield?
and it comes with the motorized windshield on all 3 of them, which really takes away the Road Glide standpoint to where you have to have 4 different windshields depending on what kind of ride you're doing. You can find the one that works for you, but if you have that windshield that goes up and down, you have every form of windshield in one style to where you could just move it up and down.
And look, if Indian could just learn how to close that gap in their panels, I'd be happier.
Yeah, but look at the way Victory was, man. Victory wasn't like they were sharp. They had that.
Victory had the same quality issue.
I don't think it's quality. I think it's defining themselves from the motor company. Because at the point you start chasing, like, oh, all of our lines are perfectly smooth and all that stuff, the bike doesn't stand out. You can go to a bike show, all right, or a meetup for bikes or whatever, and have 50 Road Glides sitting in a line, and they're all going to look the same. Everyone's going to see it's got smooth lines. It's got this look. People might adjust things on them.
But that's the point of having mass-produced products, is they all look the same. And they, especially in this type of very niche market, you want it to all be the same because people want to customize it their way.
So I think, okay, so I brought this up earlier. What's up, Tampa Boy Customs? So Chad Wyckoff asks, if you took 10 people who had no idea either bikes and put them on both, which would they all pick Indian?
Oh.
I think,
and I don't even think you'd have a 50-50
I think you'd have
split.
70% that pick the Indian. Just off of,
again, it all depends on what that person's into.
Well, and I think what he's talking about is basically taking out the factor of buying a Harley for a Harley.
I'm saying, look, I'm not saying that the fit and finish is Harley's thing.
It is. Like,
well,
Harley doesn't get you on performance, but they get you on the look of the bike.
Right.
Like,
but that's something that's important to people like me.
People
like you want the performance piece.
But look at, I mean, like, you're not that much older than me, but you do look at that age gap of what people want to ride. And if I have a bike that outperforms a Harley on every level, that's still less cost. Why would I buy the bike that looks better? In theory, to the not older generation, but the generation ahead, versus a bike that's gonna destroy.
A lot of guys buy bikes for the aftermarket too, man. Like on that Indian, you buy that bike, you bought the bike maxed out, essentially. How much aftermarket is there for that bike to make that bike that much better?
Yeah, but you'd still have.
If you look at the aftermarket for Harley, you can tear it down, make it look different, and you can just immediately rip the jugs off, put something bigger in.
Well, there you go though. You're $10,000 into making that motor better, and it still doesn't perform better than the 108 with a tune. It still doesn't have the water cool. It still doesn't have the performance aspect of it, because like that Challenger is stupid fast.
What I'm saying isn't to produce the better number. What I'm saying is that a lot of guys buy the bike because they want to build out a bike. The experience of building the bike, the joy of building the bike, the fun, and then taking it to the bike show and going, I did this, I did that, I did this, bragging to guys at bike night. That's part of that culture, and that's a big part of what I think those guys buy into.
But like, I am the kind of person, like, I know that it's like always like a speed contest for me because I always like the performance aspect of it. And yeah, you have a 131 on your bike now that you spent $10,000 on to get installed by Harley that has issues with the motor because they blow up. Like the longevity on those hasn't been proven yet.
Set that aside. When you go to the drag show and you scream that bike down the line, everybody goes, shit, dude, what did you do to that thing? And you're like, I had it tuned. Is a less cool story. It doesn't make it slower. It doesn't make you wrong.
Yeah, but at that point, it doesn't matter what you did to it if you win. You know, just
so here's another perspective, perhaps. Would you say that all supercars are the same?
No.
Okay.
No.
So you have a supercar, an American supercar, in the form of the brand new Corvette Stingray. You know, mid-engine, it's still considered a supercar. It meets all the requirements. But then you look at a brand new Lamborghini. Both of them are sports cars. Both of them are exotics. Both of them are luxurious. Both of them are fast as balls.
But that Lamborghini is going to destroy that Corvette on every aspect.
Sure, but you go look at the Lamborghini. Everything is custom. The stitching, the type of leather, everything in there, how fast it massages your testicles, all of that is custom.
$10,000 a gallon.
It comes down to its fit, its finish, what people are looking for. Yes, there's the performance side, but it's that art piece. It's that they can buy that car, take it somewhere, park it, and it's gorgeous just by itself.
I think
you can do that with almost every Harley model from the Softail up. You can buy it, go straight somewhere, go to a parking lot, like a show and shine type of thing, coffee and cars, park your bike, and people are going to come up and look at it. It could be bone stock, but people are going to come talk to you about your Harley. People are not necessarily going to do that about your Scout or your Chieftain.
Scout guys
I think the challenge, like, I think that from the aspect though is the Challenger in this sense is the Lamborghini, because you buy that Lamborghini and all that, you buy that Lamborghini and all the stitching and all that kind of stuff because you buy the one you want, the version of that Lambo you want.
Okay, let me put it into even more closer to apple and apple. You would buy a Lamborghini. I would buy something closer to a Bentley or an Aston Martin before I would buy the Lamborghini. Because the fit, the finish, the luxury side of it is something I look for. I prefer that over going over 200 miles an hour. That's my thing.
Well, and I think that's the two aspects of it, is looking at the generational differences between what people are looking for in motorcycles.
Right. I mean, I'm 37 years old. How old are you?
I'm 10 years younger than you. I'm 27.
Okay.
So
that is a generational gap.
It is. And that's what I'm saying is, like, for me, like, I like the feel of when I hit that throttle, the bike putting me back, which the Harley does too. It does have torque and all that kind of. Don't get me wrong.
Hey Johnny, does 37 make you a Gene Co guy?
It does.
Yeah, I'm guilty.
Yeah, we would have been in high school at the same time, dude, with the hookah shell necklace.
I'm guilty.
But like, I honestly really, I think the Challenger is the ultimate factory performance bike. I mean, yeah, it doesn't have all of Harley's gloss and all that kind of stuff, but we all know Harley Chrome is crap anyways.
So I would say
I just have never met anyone with more of a boner for that bike than me.
I would say if you narrow your listing down to the highest performing American bagger, correct, I'll give you that one. Or fixed fairing American bagger, I'll give that to you all day long.
Well, yeah, that's.
But if you're going for performance bagger, you're going to BMW.
Well, yeah, I'm saying for the American, like we're comparing Harley and Indian, and
yeah, but be careful how you classify stuff.
But I think that the best like if you're going that aspect of it, all right, is like comparing. This is like comparing like a Camaro and a Mustang. You know what's offered on either one, because like that's really the best comparison I can think of for these two bikes.
I would actually agree, because one doesn't outperform the other to the extent that a Lamborghini is going to blow out a Corvette.
Yeah, I mean a Mustang
or the price difference. They're within a couple thousand of each other, right? And
yeah,
like they're similar priced. They are similar size. It is the horsepower is not a blowout. You're not talking about something that's going to go.
No,
miles an hour.
The performance difference from the Challenger motor to the Harley motor is that much.
It's significant, but it's not. I don't want to like overstate the significance.
Sure,
It's not 50 horsepower difference.
Yeah, but at the same time, you're looking at like a 107 Road Glide and a 108.
And again, here's
Challenger
another thought.
Is the same price.
So for the Challenger, is there a plethora of kits to be doing stuff to that fairing and the headlights and the bezels and to be doing integrated turn signals?
Yeah, but that's
again, you're losing.
It already has all that, though.
And not just that. Harley, no matter where Harley's at today, no matter what trouble Harley's having today, Harley Davidson has never not made motorcycles since Harley Davidson motorcycles in some form or another. And Indian went away. And there's always going to be that.
Well, the only reason Harley exists today is
am I buying into something that's going to be there tomorrow? And I think that's a big part of how people spend their money.
I do. Because here's the two differences between Indian and Harley. Harley prides itself on selling motorcycles. Like that is the thing. They can only sell motorcycles. Indian is the sub company of Polaris, and Polaris sells side by sides. They sell razors. They sell all of these
side by side.
Okay, but slingshot, like they sell all these things.
Right, they're a power sports company.
So
their market is stuff that people will always buy.
I'm not arguing the point. I'm saying that that's something that goes through people's heads.
But
you know why Victory never outsold Harley? Because they're not Harley. You know why? Name another cruiser brand.
Yeah, but when
Honda sells more sport bikes than they do Shadows.
But kids nowadays aren't riding motorcycles. So let's say in 10 years, kids aren't buying Harleys.
Right, but whether the market's at 100% of what it's ever been or 50% of whatever it's been, it's still gonna proportionally behave about the same.
But from like looking the way I'm looking at it for the performance side of it, all right, if I'm going to spend 20 grand on a bike, I got the Heritage because I wanted that bike.
Right.
I like having bags eventually that are going to get changed because they're just complete garbage. Once I put that 2-in-1 on there, it really showed me what they were. But you're right, the customization aspect, I can put full-size bags on it and all that kind of stuff. But you look at the Heritage, and it's got a 114 and a lighter frame bike with a monoshock, which is fun. It makes it fun. It makes it corner like a monster. It makes it have that feel of being fast. It is fast, but it gives you that rocket feeling, that slingshot feeling. You don't have all that extra weight on there to make it feel heavy, to where that power is trying to get that heaviness to go. In 10 years, things like the Triumph Rocket 3 or other companies that are making these performance, like the KTM Super Duke is the perfect one. All right, you can buy a windshield for it, like a touring windshield for it. You can buy the bags for it. You can buy all that stuff for that bike. and still have a bike that destroys Harley Davidsons and destroys all these other things, but you still have that performance to where you can take that bike on a 5,000-mile road trip, take the bags off, and go to a track day the next day. Harleys are unique to one field. And I feel like in 10 years, when kids aren't buying bikes now, they're way more interested in technology and being online and all that kind of stuff. So like in reality, are they going to keep buying? Like people are going to buy bikes. They're going to buy bikes. It's going to be the way it's going to be. But the level of people buying a specific Harley Davidson versus buying a sport bike because it's more fun to ride with their buddies, or a naked bike, or an adventure bike, where it gives you more than just one style, to where you can take a sport bike to around town and then take it to a track day with your buddies. You can't take a road glide to a track day.
But that's because a road glide wasn't built to be a track day motorcycle.
Right.
You're right. It wasn't. But
here's the Challenger.
Who's going to give it? The Challenger, I would say I would put on a track day. The way it rides.
Okay, I think at this point we're in a dream cycle here.
No, I'm not saying it like that. I'm saying in the future, though. All right, I think that touring models and like baggers are going to be irrelevant. I think that they'll advance and all that kind of stuff, but Harley does not have. Like, Harley's always 10 years behind.
10 years behind what?
Everyone else.
Except for Indian, who puts out the exact same bikes Harley does.
Not really.
It's the exact same bikes.
Challenger versus Road Glide.
Okay, so one.
Okay, but
to somebody who's not you, dude. To somebody who's not you. To somebody
that's not me. All right, I look
educated consumer where you know all the numbers on those bikes.
Okay, but
somebody that's like, hey, we should get a bike and go across the country. Because remember when I used to have a bike 30 years ago, wife of mine, and you start looking at bikes, they are the same bike. And then you can get into the dollar amount for the performance and what do I like, what do I want?
But like when you're talking like that, like Indian, even though that Challenger is comparable, or people could say it was made because to imitate the Road Glide, whatever.
I don't know. It was under 50.
It was okay.
It was built to challenge the Road Glide.
Yeah. No,
that's
but like
what Indian or Polaris came out and said.
They have, but they put out a bike that is on par but below Harley's price for its Road Glide. It's got a Fox Racing monoshock rear suspension, which is super smart because it makes changing suspension on that bike simple, but it also makes it more performance oriented, so you have better contact with the ground. It makes it so cornering and everything like that is way more fun and more stable. Like their rider, what do you want to call it? Like Harley calls it the rider's RDRS or something.
Mm-hmm.
The stuff to help you not lean the bike over. Like whatever it is, like that Indian already has that even on their standard version.
Mm-hmm.
It's got like Indians that I'm not saying that it's an all around like perfect bike. All right, but comparing it to the Road Glide, the Indian Challenger is like ages above it. And the bike that just came out after Harley's been making the Road Glide since for 20 years? Like the actual Road Glide itself, not the Tour Glide, but the actual Road Glide. They brought out a bike after Harley's been making the same bike for 20 years, and it literally, from everything except for we'll call fit and finish. All right, we'll go with that. But for what's price per dollar and what you get per dollar, value per dollar, it's ages in front of the Road Glide. And you're right, there is the aspect of aftermarket and all that kind of stuff, but that will come because Harley's been around long enough to have that big ass aftermarket. But when the Challenger comes with all these things that Wigsley was talking about, like integrated turn signals on the fairing and LED headlights and all these other cool things you can do to the like that already come on it, you don't have to pay extra for it. You can change handlebars. You can change handlebars on the Challenger. They have them for it.
Yeah, they have a couple.
They do. Like, and when you tune that 108, like it's already water cooled, so that puts it above Harley right there. So the whole motor is water cooled. So that gives you longevity on the motor. It makes services a little more expensive. That's whatever, it's expected, but also that longevity on the bike. Like, the reason I'm saying this stuff is because Harley isn't putting out, like, they want to succeed. They're not putting out bikes that can compete in the future. Like, yeah, I know we're talking about now in the future, but if Harley sticks on the same path they're on.
Right, but dude, you're looking at success by like a weird metric here. Look at it this way. Harley is capable of selling a bike that is within the same category as this other bike and being numbers-wise a less powerful bike. And they're able to sell that bike with less options for more money.
Well, that's because that's only going to last until Harley loyalty goes away.
So I'm looking at this, and the Challenger, the base Challenger, is actually $300 more than the Harley Road Glide.
Okay.
And the Indian Challenger Dark Horse is about the same as the hold on, Road Glide Special. Okay, so the Road Glide Special is a couple $100 cheaper.
Okay.
So it's less expensive technically, but yes, you are. I mean, we're talking nickels at that point.
Not really though, because how much?
$200 or $300 difference in the models. The base model Road Glide and base model Indian Challenger, and the special versus their Dark Horse, which is their special equivalent.
Well, and that price is negated right there with a stage audio kit for your Road Glide, because everyone knows the factory standard Road Glide audio is trash. You're paying $1,500 to get the stage 2 audio put into that Road Glide.
Most guys who buy that bike, dude, they're taking that stereo out anyways to put in what they really want, and they know what they really want before they bought the bike.
This is true.
The cost of the bike.
But that's where it is the Indian Challenger already comes with a bass boosted audio badass system.
But if that system is exactly what that consumer wants.
What's up, Gears?
What's up, Dan? I'm kind of at the point where it's going to always come down to the same thing as what we were discussing earlier. It's Mustang or Camaro. It's Indian or it's Harley. And honestly, I'm hoping that Indian continues to be successful and to push and create competition, because that's the one thing that Harley really didn't have for a number of years. Because Victory was not really competition. Indian has become competition, but they're not taking big chunks out of Harley Davidson. They're not.
I think they might be though, because
we're talking, a percent.
It is
1% or 2%. And to your other point, Polaris has a pipeline for their motorcycles where Harley doesn't.
Yeah, that's that's the problem is time. Off-roading will always be around. People will always want to do stuff with off-road vehicles.
Or water vehicles.
They have that security that Harley doesn't. And that's something I think that's a huge factor in, is that, will Indian be around for the next 20 years? Yeah, I think Harley will. But I don't think they're going to be the way they are now. Well, I think Indian will be around for the next 20 years? Yes, because they're a side project to a bigger purpose. You make Indians, and if you have to slow down production on them, it's not really an issue, but also you don't have to, because we sold 10,000 razors this month. That's the big difference, is that these places, except for
same thing. That's the same thing you could say about Honda. That's the same thing you could say about
Yamaha, Suzuki.
From the American aspect, though, just the American brand bikes, Indian is the one that's got more security than Harley does. Because Harley doesn't have anything to fall back on. It's not like they make cars or they make off-road vehicles or they make anything else.
Here's the thing. A company let's just, Polaris would only carry Indian for so many quarters when it's not cutting a profit. Period.
Dan says, I would say he's like, I'm completely on board with Indian pushing Harley to innovate, even to make them 2% more uncomfortable. It's a good thing for Harley fans.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that.
It is. I mean,
I think that I'm trying to be reasonable about that. There is a percentage of the population within the American cruiser motorcycle community that will look right, especially with the younger guys, the guys 25 to 35 right now. If it ain't a Harley, then I'm just not interested.
I also think there's a large...
And the Indians are cool and everything, but like I don't have the same feeling in my testicles when I sit on any of the Indians.
Yeah, but at that same time, at that same age frame, they're looking at, why would I buy a Harley and go into debt for $20,000 and have a non-performance oriented bike?
I got it. You know why Harley's always going to sell motorcycles? Because men like pussy.
Yeah. And when a girl looks at two different bikes at our day and age...
No. I know some scooter skanks, dude. There's some fucking tank sluts.
Yeah, there's scooter skanks, but at the same time...
I probably know some girls that wouldn't fuck you if you rode an Indian.
Fender fluff. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
but at the same time, you're looking at the wrong aspect of that.
I think this entire conversation is looking at so many different aspects.
Well, no, he's saying if you're riding an Indian, but if you show up on a CBR 1000 or you show up on a KTM Super Duke car,
different crowd of chicks.
Accurate.
Yeah, but most Harley scooter skanks are trashy people anyways. So let's be honest.
Ooh, don't talk about my future second ex-wife to be like that.
Now, I have to admit, a good friend of mine, Adam, he always said that the best looking non-crotch rocket girls are chopper chicks. And it's the most accurate shit ever.
It is.
Who wants to ride a chopper all over fucking town?
They let them do that.
There's a reason they call it a pussy pad.
I'm a very simplistic person. I prefer Harley over Indian because I personally look for that fit and finish. And and here's the thing. I looked for those types of things. It was something that, when we were doing the review of them, Justin didn't even notice the gap. And then I showed him the picture later on, and it's noticeable. I mean, if you go to their website right now, it's a noticeable gap in just the fairing. And that's something that it stands out to me.
It draws the eye.
Yeah.
But your generation, is looking for that stuff. You know what I mean? Like the quality is...
I don't even think it's that. I think it's some people have different taste, man.
Okay. Be 23 years old. All right. We'll put it at that time frame. You're 23 years old.
I was 26 when I got my first bagger.
Yes, but that was also what year?
2009.
Okay, now be 23 years old today.
Obama was president. It's not that long.
But I'm saying be 23-year-old today, right? You put a Road Glide and you put a Challenger next to each other, and you look at the kid that's thinking, I want to be stupid and go fast. And you point at that bike and be like, that bike goes this fast, and this bike goes this fast. Basically, that whole fit and finish goes out the window when he realizes that he can have the fastest bike of his buddies. Like, that's what I'm saying.
I don't know any 23-year-olds that are buying...
They aren't. I'm saying, being stupid with speed,
baggers.
Being the fastest is something that versus, you
So
go to...
Here's something I'm guilty of when I'm looking at stuff. I'll be sitting in the store or in the dealership, and I'll go on my handy-dandy little computer device here. I'm like, okay, aftermarket 2020 Road Glide. And then I see, a few million results pop up on Google. Then I go to Indian and I do 2020 Challenger aftermarket, and I get 5 pages, and they're all windshields. You see what I'm saying?
Right. There's 2 exhausts out aftermarket for that bike.
Well,
So-
first off, you have to specify Indian Challenger. Let's start with that one.
So I'm just saying that for me, I can customize my Harley to smoke an Indian. And it would
And how much is that going to cost you, though?
not
He doesn't
much at
care.
all.
He doesn't care because not a Harley.
There is the Harley aspect of it. That's always going to be there because Harley equals cool. Doesn't matter how you look at it, and that's an age thing.
That's it. There it is. Dan says, I don't know if it's fit and finish that goes out the window or if it's the fact that younger people today don't care as much about the name on the tank. And the reason you say that, all right, we go back to the bike show thing, is if I take my Heritage to a bike show or like a hangout, whatever, 95% of the people that are going to come up and look at my bike and be like, that's badass, are older. I don't get any freaking people from the ages of, let's say, 19 to 24 that are walking up and they're like, dude, that's a badass bike.
Because that's not what that age group is into. If you showed up on a stretched swing arm Hayabusa, you'd have a crowd of 18-year-olds and 15-year-olds and 16-year-olds surrounding you, wanting to hear all about how awesome that 10-foot long swing arm is.
But that just proves the point, though.
But that's what they're into.
But that's what they're into, and that's going to carry on to next generations to what follows
They
behind
like
them.
Groms.
They're into
I'm gonna put a
sport.
swing arm on a Grom.
Here's
Oh, here we go.
why. Here's why it's like that. Sport bikes are marketed to younger men. It's just how it is. Period.
Cause dumb pussy.
Well, because they're cheap
Low end pussy.
and it's just
There's my point right there. Thank you, Dwayne Sapp. Thank you very much for really throwing down the gauntlet on Harley's fit and finish and how shit their warranty is. 100% trash. Their warranty is super trash. Their fit and finish, like the Softails have a problem with corrosion on their forks. Their powder coated and chrome forks have a problem with pitting because the fit and finish of what they did, it looks good, but the quality of what looks good is not what it used to be. Harley Chrome used to never rust, ever. Like Harley Chrome, like if you kept it clean and wiped it down, it looked super nice. You could wipe it down now. Like I kept my Heritage stored. Like I cleaned it and then stored it, and the chrome still rusted. And that's the problem is that their fit and finish looks good, but in a year or two, is that chrome still going to look as good as it did? And I don't think it does because
your first problem is you were buying chrome. That was your first problem.
there goes Mick Six Figure Harley HG hashtag cancel Mick. Yes, please do. But no, I mean that is though. Like I think that's one of the reasons I am so like for the Challenger versus Harley, the Road Glide, is because I am so burnt.
So go trade in all of your Harleys and go buy an Indian Challenger and become the premier Challenger motovlog.
That'd be the Adventures of the Bearded Bobber. Go check him out on YouTube. He makes good content. He's got a Challenger. It looks dope as shit. It's storm.
Okay, so be number 2. Either way, I'm just saying.
Well, no, and I think that's one of my primary factors is I've had such a negative experience with Harley's quality that you talk about the fit and finish so much, and like the fit and finish is a factor down in the South to where you don't get that rusting issue. But in the Midwest, it's something that really becomes evident. Like I have my old Fender that came off my bike that was powder coated, or like powder coated or sprayed or whatever they did to it.
Mm-hmm.
My factory Fender, when you like on the outside, it didn't look bad, but when you pulled off the chrome, the duckbill, and all that stuff, there was rust starting to form there. And underneath, dude, the paint was literally like flaking. Like I could peel off half underneath that Fender because of the Harley quality.
And it could be the fact that I haven't owned a motorcycle long enough to have that happen to me in Texas, but I haven't had those same issues.
My heritage
Now,
is just about done seeing snow, anyways.
in my soft tail, no, I did have that in Bahrain. So I did have some corrosion on the nuts and some of the bolts, but I'm on an island, so that's going to be expected. But look, everyone has their own experiences. Some folks have had terrible experiences with Harley, and they don't care that it was AMF's fault. They had a bad experience. They will never ride a Harley, and that's fine. That is their prerogative. But at the same time, the fact that I continuously buy Harleys, that's my prerogative. And the competition between two brands, one, it's all made up in the media. It's what we, us content creators, it's the hype that we create. But two, at the end of the day, they're both companies. They don't give two shits about yeah, they don't.
We're the peasants.
They look at the larger masses, and they look at how those people are purchasing things. And again, you're talking about a demographic that, yes, everyone says Harley should go after, but that's not what sustains Harley. Harley needs to go after those middle age group, between the early adult and the senior citizens. They need that middle group, because they're not Harley and even Indian. Neither one will ever win the 18 to 30-year-old market. They just won't.
I mean, I think it depends on someone's influence. I think that's a big one.
Well, 18 to 30-year-olds primarily just can't afford Harleys and Indians.
I mean, I know I'm an oddball. I'm an oddity in this. But I think one of the things that really, there's two things I face that are hard. All right, is I love my heritage. All right, and I had so much positive feedback. One of my best positive feedback videos was I titled the 2021 Heritage Softail, or Harley Davidson Heritage Softail Special. All right, and the stuff I've done to my bike, and that's why it was kind of a clickbait kind of thing, but it's like what I thought Harley should do for the 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Or the 2020, whatever it was, the 2021 Heritage Softail, to really get that demographic to buy into it, And one of the most positive feedbacks I've had on a video was that. And Harley, I don't know if they just want to stick with that, because they already messed up, because they took the advice of old people that would never be buying a Heritage Softail again. All right, all these people that were butthurt that they took the chrome off the Heritage are never going to be buying a fucking Heritage Softail. They're on baggers. All right, they're like, oh no, it's not a Heritage anymore. They took away all the chrome. Where's all the chrome? Blah blah blah. Those people are not buying Heritage Softails. All right, they're not. And
right.
Harley really gave into that and put out the 107 version of the Heritage is now chrome, and the 114 is blacked out. We'll say blacked out for now, because it's not really fully blacked out, but they did.
So something that came through on the comment strip here, something to remember about, yes, here's that one. Something to remember about content creators. If we are sponsored in any way, we are going to be slanted one way or the other. And if a company does not do right by us, but their leading competitor will do right by us, we'll jump sides quickly, because that's who pays the bills. So whenever you see a content creator, and I'm not saying Adam has done this, I'm saying content creators in general, if you see someone flip-flop like that, understand that there could be a backstory behind it.
I do think, though, his reaction to his first time riding the Challenger compared to the Road Glide that he rode all across the United States, of all people, I understand there is that aspect of being sponsored by a company. Like I'm not against that. I understand that happens. But when he got that Challenger to ride, you know, his reaction to it was like miles in front of the Road Glide. You know, that's the way the bike was. I think that it's
so here you have to understand how contracts work.
I understand how I understand that stuff. I understand he can't be he can be honest but not over hypercritical of something. Like I'm sure he has it in there to where he can be honest about it and talk about things he doesn't like versus things he does. And I understand that there's like, you know, whatever's written in his contract, you know, that's his business, whatever.
Yeah.
But I feel like he would
And
Adam's the kind of guy that would retain his ability to be honest to his audience. And there was things he didn't like about the Challenger.
yeah,
But
just it's reasons like that and people asking questions or hearing those types of changes. I simply want people to understand that it's contractual. For Between Two Wheels, I've turned down sponsors that specifically put language in contracts that say that, like, if they provide me with product and I put it on my bike, I cannot put their competitor's product on my bike for at least 1 year, that type of thing. And I personally can't be sponsored by Harley just because of my mouth, but I do my best to stay away from any type of conflict of interest because I don't do this for income. I do the podcast and live streams and stuff. Everything for that goes to a charity.
speaking of which, buy these shirts. They're on my Teespring. All proceeds go to Project Clean Slate.
Awesome. Thank you.
Designed by Wigsley.
So just that's the thing to remember. Anytime that we have not said or shown evidence that we purchased something, if we say we called up, or if we say, it's one of those things to just consider.
Hey, Dan, you have one of these. You know you want one. Sorry, Harley doesn't make a heritage T-shirt,
So Patrick is right.
No, he is.
And there are people who are unlucky when it comes to their motorcycle. And I can say that for me, I have not had any major issues with a Harley that were not self-inflicted.
I mean, I guess that's the difference.
And I have had issues with particular Harley shops where their service department was garbage, but I guess I'm not in the majority. The fact that I know that those technicians don't work for Harley Davidson. They work for, Harley Davidson dealership owner, LLC.
So going off that, where he says, I hear at least 3 people we on YouTube saying Harley has screwed them over, but none of you guys will ever change your brands, lol. And JC said, I think it's because Harley is a great platform to build up from. Also, there's this great thing called in-house financing that bends you over until you get to the point where you can sell the bike. So let's be honest, like, it's not because Harley's a great platform, it's because they signed their life away on a bike that devalued itself by 3/4 in the first 36 minutes that you've owned it.
It's one of those things where I think if I was to just really think about it, I hear the name Harley Davidson and I know that brand has been around a long time. I hear Indian motorcycles, and it doesn't matter what they put on the side of their motor. They haven't been around as long. And they don't have the trust.
Did Indian fight Nazis?
Yes.
Did they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I will buy a shirt. Just recall to be last night where they crushed me for not selling my merch hard enough. Well, mine's not for profit. It's all for charity.
But just understand, as a kid, you see a lot of movies where Harleys, or what you perceive a Harley Davidson to look like, is being ridden. You watch TV shows like Sons of Anarchy where they're all on Harleys or Harley-like motorcycles.
Yeah, I like how Harley puts out, like, they basically sponsored Sons of Anarchy for that.
Captain
And
America rides a Harley.
and then
A
what
Sportster.
and then what happened?
No, he rides the street rod, which is super queer.
But they did that. They did that for Sons of Anarchy, and then
Well,
discontinued the Dyna line like
Think
right
about this,
after.
not just movies, not just being a kid and seeing the Terminator on a Fat Boy, not just, all those things aside. Think about dads and uncles and grandpas' garages. I grew up with a Harley in someone's garage, and I grew up wanting that Harley, and because Indian went away for so long, and because Old Indian is not New Indian, that's just the name.
2000s
There's
Indian
not
was
that
not
same,
Indian.
I think, like lineage from handed down from generation to generation within families of
This is
everybody
highly
knows at least one guy in
incorrect.
their family that's a car or a motorcycle guy.
JC Cycles, that's true, but nobody spends 30 grand on a bike that wants to dump more money to it. Obviously, you have not met every Harley Davidson owner ever.
Yeah, you're fooling yourself, dude. There's a crowd out there that wants
It's
to
100%
do
profit,
that.
so I guess it's not for profit. But yeah, I mean, no, that's true though. People will buy a $30,000 Harley and dump more money into it.
Well,
I mean,
they'll buy Gold Wings that are as expensive as Harley touring bikes, and then they'll dump a ton of money into those.
real quick, looking at this comment, Johnny, how many handlebars have you bought for road glides or street
Really?
years?
Really?
I'm just saying, like he says that people don't do it, but
I've probably spent $5,000 or $6,000 in handlebars over the years,
well, and I'm not saying that to
just
be
on Harleys.
I'm not saying that to be a dick. I'm saying like the point is because they're so customizable. You're gonna
But
always get different bikes.
I think he is still talking about the fact that when you spend $30,000 on a bike, it should be good enough.
Well, it then wants to dump more money into it, but they do. They will buy the Road Glide Special and then dump more money into it.
Dude, before I bought my first Harley, I already had a cart full of shit that I wanted to buy.
Well, no,
You know
and
what I mean?
that's
Before I went
true though.
and put
But
the
people,
first payment on the bike, as I'm standing in the bike shop, and I'm like, "This is the bike. I gotta talk to the guy. I gotta get a price." Before I'm even at the counter, seeing how much price I could get down, I'm already in my head like, "Okay, this is my budget for handlebars. If I can get them to go down this much, I can
Yes,
do
I do.
this and
I
this."
absolutely love getting fucked all the time.
No, but he has a point. He does. And look, I think we take for granted the heritage that Harley has. If you go look at a motorcycle that was built,
the heritage that Harley has.
yeah, go to look at a motorcycle built in the 50s. And then you look at the motorcycles being built today. And don't look at the technology side of it, but look at the quality of the material you're getting. It's not the same.
Okay, yeah, I'll go with that.
And we see it in cars too. But what we are seeing is people don't want to pay $30,000 for a Sportster. They don't want to spend $30,000 on a Softail. So there has to be a give somewhere. And unfortunately, and I had to deal with them, so I am a little sour about it, but Harley Davidson's unions are really good at squeezing their testicles. And they get more money. Well, Harley has to charge more for the motorcycles. So the labor costs keep going up, and the material cost is is not getting any cheaper, so they're going to have to do something. So they're going to try to drop the cost of material. So you're starting to see more plastic. You're starting to see more, aluminum instead of steel, and you're seeing a lot more products being made in China and other low cost labor areas.
I think that's a big one, is the chrome plating versus, like, the chrome plating is a big difference. But like, I didn't ever really hear about it from that aspect where it's Harley's unions. And I while it does suck people from Harley Davidson losing jobs and all that kind of stuff, if it does lower the cost of the motorcycles, I mean, it does suck. But if, at the same time, when you got unions that are basically making the bikes expensive, because
I'm not saying that they're overcharging, but I don't understand how a guy who doesn't have a college degree, who pushes a button and stamps steel, and that's literally all he does. Move a sheet in, hit the button, move the product out, move a new sheet in. That's what he does for 8 to 10 hours a day. I don't see how that is a $30 to $35 an hour job.
Making more than college degrees.
Well, again, supply and demand. That labor force is obviously in low supply and high demand because they're able to get $30, $35 an hour.
So, real quick to address this, Cajun Spider 2000 says my 2018 Heritage has the same rusting spokes. Just get DNA wheels that make your life easier. It's upfront more expensive, but in the end, the long run will save you. My windshield brackets are rusting, which I've experienced that, and I'm going to get mine powder coated. My gauges fogged to the point I can't read the digital display. Harley's official fix for that is to let it sit in the sun. Like, legit, that's their official fix. Like, straight up. And it says my fuel filler cap rattles like crazy. You can get that replaced under warranty. Even if your bike is out of warranty, you can still get that cap replaced. That is a warrantyable offense. That's a what do you want to call it? What do they call defect? Like a factory defect.
JC makes a good point, though. It would be nice to have lighter Harleys.
My Heritage is light. Just saying. But my Heritage Tour Pack. That I don't know. That right there, I would not buy.
I expect a Harley to be heavy when I pick it up.
I would not.
I kind of like that it's got some nuts to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not riding to be out on a CBR popping wheelies. Like, I'm out to be cruising on something I know's connected to the ground real good.
I mean, my Heritage does wheelies.
Here's the thing.
I wouldn't have bought a Harley Tour Pack, though.
We, the consumer, are pushing our motorcycles beyond what they were designed to do. Harley Davidson as a brand is not a performance brand in the sense of your sport bike, your super sports, and all that other stuff. European streets are not exactly straight. They're not wide.
Europeans aren't straight in general.
But American roads, wide open spaces, everything like that, it's what it really comes down to. To Gears and Gadgets, Dan's question here: how do I feel about aluminum frames on the touring bikes? I think the touring bikes need it. I think they need that lighter frame, because then they can still continue having their underpowered motor, but still having an over performing motorcycle, if that makes sense.
My Heritage is 650 pounds without me on it.
Cool.
So, he said your bike isn't light, your center of gravity is lower, so it seems lighter. My bike is actually 650 pounds, and the difference in center of gravity compared to a Road King or a touring model is 1 inch. That's it. 1 inch. That's the only difference in...
And you have a 114?
Yeah. How stupid is it on you? Tell your Harley to suck it. You know what, though? Telling Harley to suck it, here's my thing, all right? You can buy a Harley Davidson. At that point, you do not have to buy anything else Harley. That's the biggest point. And, like, it is true. Like, my favorite part about my Harley is the customization aspect of it. I can buy a Harley and never have to put another Harley part on it. I have never bought a Harley brand part to go on my bike.
Oh, I have.
My windshield is from Clockworks. My front fender is Clockworks. My exhaust is not Harley. My air cleaner is factory on there, so I'm not really counting that. And I got my gas caps replaced under warranty, so I didn't actually buy them. And my tires are Shinko, my wheels are DNA. I do not buy one Harley part. So yeah, you can buy a Harley in general, but after that, you don't have to give them any business. But there will be those people that do go straight Harley for every part. They want the dealership to install every part, so they will buy all Harley brand parts. Like a Harley Stage 1 kit is trash. Harley Stage 1s are trash nowadays. They used to be good, now they're trash. That Screaming Eagle Street Tuner, the Seps, is trash.
Dude, there's only 100-pound difference between the Road King and the Heritage 114.
Yeah. The Road King's actually pretty light too. I mean, it's not a really heavy bike. It says my 2019 Street Glide Special. Told you right there, Street Glide. Had a transfer issue and the transmission ran dry. Now my shifter sticks when I have to pull over and yank it out by hand. Harley won't cover it because it's intermittent.
I would just take it to a different shop.
Yeah, I would just take it to a different Harley dealership, honestly. Your warranty's good at every Harley dealership, and the Softails don't have that issue. It's whatever the change is. The Heritage doesn't have that issue that the touring models do. If you let someone walk on you, they can do so. Just saying, guys. Well,
that's an accurate statement.
It is accurate, but unless you,
my kids actually come down to San Antonio from Dallas to have me go do stuff for him because he does not feel comfortable with confrontation, and I live for confrontation.
I also live for confrontation. That's why I will never get sponsored by Harley, nor do I really give a shit. Literally,
I tell you what, I talk about shitty dealer service. My roommate Steve ordered a tire for his Fat Bob, and when I came out to go to work this morning, his bike was sitting in the middle of the driveway, and I was like, "That's weird." And then he called me. He's like, "Stupid dealership can't come pick it up, even though we're like 10 minutes away, and they said they would." So now Steve doesn't have a new back tire. Stupid.
What, he roasted already?
Yeah, no, his back tire is like, it's one burn away from popping.
The black coating on my crash bar is flaking and rusted, also denied by warranty, because that is regular wear and tear according to Harley. Their shit quality is
occasion. I don't tell this to a lot of people, but maybe you and Harley just need to break up. I'm sorry, but you seem to have a lot of issues.
Like, just don't. Whatever you do, don't
not buy a Harley.
Don't buy Harley parts. Well, if you want to buy a Harley, go ahead. Don't buy Harley parts.
But the Harley comes with Harley parts.
No, I'm saying you can replace most of it.
Then why buy a Harley?
That's the point of buying a Harley, though, isn't it? You said earlier is the customization aspect of it.
Because you can.
And I will say that I do.
You can replace your motor from S and that. Like, you can replace everything on that bike.
I would expect it to be
except the frame.
Correct.
Everything on the bike can be not be Harley.
That frame is the only thing that makes it a Harley.
That's literally you could replace everything on that bike.
That's the same case for any motorcycle, really.
Not really. There's not too many bikes on the market that you can replace everything on the bike with something.
Well, right. My statement was that the frame is what makes every bike their manufacturer.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. But motor, transmission, swing arms, everything can be changed except that frame. And it could all not be Harley.
And, Get Lowered is starting to carry more Indian products. JC Cycles is carrying more. Dennis Kirk. So the Indian aftermarket is growing, but it's growing around the same rate that the Indian buyers are growing.
Which
it's not huge. That's why you don't see a huge aftermarket for it, but it is there.
Demand.
Yeah. You don't need a vast supply if you don't have any demand.
oddly specific here, though. He says my previous 3 bikes, 13 Sportster 48, which I still have mine. My 13 Breakout and 15 Street Glide. It seems like everything you have here was pre-Milwaukee 8 that did not have issues. And it seems like when Milwaukee came out, the quality issues, like with the fit and finish, began to arise. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I thought about buying a Harley, but if I did, I would never be a new one, and I will deny ever saying this. Well, it's on a live stream, so you can't.
You know what? We're talking about buying brand
I said
new.
JC, J&P Cycles. Thank you.
No, but you buy used is a whole nother side to this argument. You know,
I think
bought
that
a
would
Sportster
actually
for way less than the Harley dealership.
I
was
honestly
brand new,
think
and I had
that
money to put into it.
The aftermarket of Harley will kill Harley. Like the aftermarket of buying bikes.
You could build a motorcycle from scratch and make it look just like a Harley and outperform a Harley. And it would be cheaper than the comparable Harley.
I'm just saying this aftermarket sales of Harley, though, like not like buying from the dealership, but the pre-owned market, I should say. Like, because
but Harley still owns the dealer market.
It does,
and that's where these bikes are at.
Phrasing. It owns the American dealer market,
right? But
because if you want performance and speed and everything like that, just go to a import brand.
Exactly. Go to a power sports company,
like Triumph. I would put in front of Harley, honestly.
Anyways, we've been going for almost 2.5 hours. So
yeah, I was not playing this, and I was going to play some Warzone tonight or multiplayer tonight. So,
alrighty,
I'm gonna cut it off there, everyone. Thanks for everyone showing up. Thank you, Johnny and Wigsley, for being in the panel tonight. Anyways, if anyone wants to join the panel next week, let me know. Dan, if you want to jump in here, Patrick, JC, anyone, Cajun Spiner. If anyone wants to join the panel next week, let me know, because I'm always wanting to get people in here. But that's it. Yeah, I mean, we've always had good conversation, and this went way longer than I expected it to, because what happens on this stream just goes south and west and north and east real fast. And as always, I hope you guys have a great day, evening, night, morning, afternoon tea, brunch, lunch, nightcap, midnight snack, crumpet, McGriddle, bacon sandwich. And remember to always ride for freedom. Goodbye. See, look at that. I got the end. I figured that one out real fast.
Yeah, except